Hello everyone, and now welcome to a 2v2 matchup, Sheik and Bizzare versus Cash and Blade. This game taking place here on the Consortium. Bizzare spawning as, well, the red orc player here on the top right hand side of the map. His partner down to the south here, Sheik, spawning as the red undead. He will be going up against a human and orc as we take a look at Cash spawning as the teal orc off over here. And then finally Blade spawning as the teal human. Human orc versus, orc undead. We'll see what comes about in this matchup as things are already getting underway. Bizzare opening things up, not going for a barracks early on, or is that going to be a war mill? Nope, gonna go ahead and just harvest a bit of lumber, and it looks like it may be a very fast tech to tier 2 coming from the red orc. Undead down to the south here, opening things up. There's a crypt, altar of darkness, tomb of relics, and a ziggurat. Pretty much a standard fare all the way across the board. Most likely will be a death knight with some ghouls early on. Getting that rod of necromancy. Nope. Sheik always wanting to prove me wrong, going instead after a lich first in a 2v2 matchup. We'll see how that translates. Good morning. Roland. Don't know how to say those names, and well, yeah, trying to phonetically say words is apparently difficult for me. Breaking things down, we're looking at barracks now coming across, getting in some grunts. We are going to be getting in an archmage, so standard heroes coming in from the human orc team. Meanwhile, we are looking at a farseer and now delay build into headhunters. The farseer early on perhaps going to try to get in some harassment while the headhunters are being trained up. There is that second orc burrow, so no longer going for a fast tech to tier 2 as originally assumed. Ghouls are already making their way out here. We are looking at the lich, perhaps going to try and pick up a rod of necromancy. There's a sacrificial skull as well, holding on to the scroll of town portal. Not going to be trying to sell that to do any sort of fast expansions, as an acolyte is right here. Well, I take it back. We could be looking at a fast expansion attempt as the spirit wolves are already down across here, keeping the scroll of town portal, but however, we're going to try and set up an expansion there as well. All right, we're looking at a lone footman scouting out this side of the map. He's going to spot all of this, and now we are going to see some early aggression coming in from Cash. Cash and Blade may be trying to converge down onto the south side here, onto the undead base, which is normally pretty untouchable. The Ruby and Tower already up and operational as the ghouls are fighting to get some damage onto those grunts. Farseer perhaps going to try to rack up a little bit of damage here, trying to chase after some of those units. One acolyte down, another acolyte could get taken down as well, as we're still seeing more damage getting racked up here. All right, trying to add in damage again and again onto all of those acolytes. One acolyte, two acolytes down, only one acolyte currently mining, two acolytes mining, but well, one more going to get taken down here in just a moment, as there is a ziggurat trying to be summoned up here. All right, one acolyte continuing to mine back away. Ghouls fighting back against this lone footman, the footman, and well, gonna end up falling, but not before taking down another ghoul as well. Sheik definitely hurting after that fight, but well, we see Bizzare able to get that kill onto the farseer there. So that is Cash's farseer getting taken out. The colors are always mixed and matched in 2v2 matchups. Not quite sure why that is the case, as Sheik now sits at level 2 on that lich, perhaps going for Dark Ritual, and should be able to get a decent amount of mana going, perhaps even trying to get to a very fast level 3. Rod of Necromancy continuing to pop up many of those units there. There's another Dark Ritual off of a skeletal minion, trying to keep that lich very, very high and topped off on mana. Blue maybe could go Kodo, then Staff. Kodo and then Staff. Let's... would that work? No? Well, Staff of Sanctuary versus Staff of Preservation is pretty different, but we could see that type of strategy where you go Kodo Beast and Staff of Sanctuary to try and pull them back. But oftentimes, orc players already have access to Healing Salve, so it's often better to just Staff of Preservation the unit, and then use a healing staff or healing salve to regenerate the hit points, rather than having to wait for tier 3. Scroll of Speed once more diving on into the orc base here. That water elemental moving around pretty quickly. Pretty much looks like he's surfing and floating on top of that water, as the Archmage now looks to run around here, try to figure out where the undead army, as Lich deals a little bit of damage there. Unit's going to try and engage Footman, taking pretty much a one-way battle here, as the Farseer continuing to rack up a little bit more damage, taking down some more of those acolytes once again. Farseer down to 282 hit points, has to be very careful, could get taken down and perhaps getting blasted by some Frost Novas as well. You do not want to give level 3 accidentally to your opponent there, as we're going to see them Spirit Wolves finish off another duel there. Farseer going to teleport away, sitting at 2.5. So many acolytes have been taken down, but at the same time, in the same way, Sheik already is at level 3 on that Lich. With the Rod of Necromancy and those dark rituals, that Lich is just going to get more and more powerful, being able to machine gun out those Frost Novas. Voodoo Lounge being built between the two bases is going to easily be pressured and shut down here. But Blade is sitting with a level 1 Archmage after all this time, as we are finally seeing a Mountain King join in onto the battle back at home. Perhaps the Archmage is just trying to put in a pressure, keep that pressure there, but the pressure is now being pushed onto Cash, as Cash is dealing with perhaps a bit of harassment here. Multiple headhunters. Lich is here with plenty of Frost Nova to go around to perhaps blast down some of those units, as the headhunters find that the Orc Burrows do not have the fortified armor as of yet. All right, without that fortified armor, they could get taken down very quickly. Scroll of Town Portal now inbound. One Orc Burrow about to get taken down. There you go. Scroll of Town Portal now coming in. Mountain King Stormbolt onto the Farseer. Farseer could be in a lot of trouble. Scroll of Healing in time. Archmage in trouble instead, as the Farseer of Bizzare now getting stunned down, followed up by a Stormbolt. It gets taken out. No Scroll of Town Portal, as the Mountain King snipes in and takes on the level 2 Farseer. Level 1 Archmage traded for a level 2 Farseer. Good trade overall. Meanwhile, Wolves are trying to chase down after these headhunters, as the fight is still raging on the inside here. Only a handful of ghouls, though, as one of those, the ghouls and those Spirit Wolves will get cleaned up once more. All right. Throughout all of this time, though, remember, Bizzare and Sheik do have the economic advantage, as they are running off of an additional base. The Tauren Chieftain is out here onto the battlefield. He wants to try and heal up as well. No easy heals, as the undead is now just teching the tier 2. No sign of a necropolis, or excuse me, no sign of a slaughterhouse until that tech to tier 2 is completed. There is a shimmering portal. Where does the shimmering portal actually travel off to? Does it go anywhere? That would actually, if it actually teleported you to the other side of the map, that would, I think that's only Waygates, but great use of I guess I would call this the Outlands tile set here, as the Lich still wandering around off to the north. All right, or off to the south here. Lich gonna perhaps try and put some pressure. Wants to get perhaps level 2 Dark Ritual to translate more mana into or more units into mana, with a better or more efficient use of that Dark Ritual there. All right, continuing to use that Rod of Necromancy, going to finish things off, polish things off, going to drop the Circlet of Nobility and that Mantle of Intelligence. Picks it up, was hoping really to get to level 4 for that level 2 Dark Ritual. Doesn't do that. Well, it should have kept the Mantle of Intelligence and Circle of Nobility off if that was that long-term goal. Units quickly jumping into the Orc Burrow and to try and hide away from all of these units here, as Cash now going to perhaps have to rebuild his bestiary. Coming back off to the teal side here, we are looking at, well, the teal team actually working together. Blade and Cash keeping the Archmage, the Tauren Chieftain, and some of the Raiders and Spirit Walkers together along the Farseer, and they're trying to move as a single army and perhaps try to catch their opponents out in open field. There goes a quick ensnare onto the Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain gets in a stomp, though, as he's trying to get away. No slow on that Tauren Chieftain. Looks like he will be able to head back as a headhunter gets lost in transit. Meanwhile, Lich sitting at level 4, a solo Lich, causing massive problems. Still has Rod of Necromancy charges, as the Orc Burrows do not have that fortified armor, and therefore taking the full damage and brunt of that level 4 Lich's auto attack. Meanwhile, pushing on in here, Bizzare has multiple Orc Burrows. Watchtowers trying to be set up here. The Orc Burrows do have fortified armor, protecting them from the magic damage, the piercing damage, and the hero damage of this human Orc army. Coming back through, the Orc Bros are still falling as the army size of this push is just so large that Bizzare is not going to be able to hold onto it. We're trying to get into spiked barricades, perhaps try to reflect back some of that damage, as this is turning into a base race scenario. Level 4 Lich, level 2 Torrent Chieftain continuing the fight here. Orc Burrows are falling. Death Knight now finally joining in on the battle. And if you are up a base and are able to force your opponent to get into a base trade scenario, why the heck not? As the spike barricades are still not yet done. There's a giant thunderclap there, slowing multiple units down. And well, we should be looking at that spike barricade coming online there. All right, a little bit of damage being reflected back now across all of these units. Spearlink, but the timing on that spike barricade is perhaps just a little bit late. Coming back down to the south here, Cash gonna lose his stronghold as well. Level 4 on the Lich. We still don't see any obsidian statues, as we are just now going into dual slaughterhouse and that tech to tier 3 already halfway done. All right. It looks as though Cash is completely out of workers, and now the units are now making their way off to the north. The reflecting damage gonna continue to poke back some of this damage back on to this melee army as they're trying to attack those bases here. Meanwhile, Rifleman Priest now looking to finish off this expansion before it gives them too much of an economic advantage. Shadowhunter out here onto the battlefield as the third and final hero of, I believe it's the third and final hero of Bizzare. There it is. There's a Torrent Chieftain. Third and final hero of Bizzare, as we're looking into what the dive on in here. All right, Ghouls trying to swarm along on the inside. Torrent Chieftain trying to push his way across, as this base race could turn a bit ugly, as the Scroll of Town Portal now inbound. Where are the units going to try and land onto? That is the question. They are all just situated right off over there. A big Frost Nova, Death Coil, all of that could have spelled certain problems, as they're able to shoot their way out of a tight situation. Meanwhile, the Orc army is about to take down the Necropolis there, and now going after the Haunted Gold Mine at that 3 o'clock location. We are now looking at one base to one base on both sides here. Torrent Chieftain looking to get to level 3, Farce or Shadowhunter looking to get more experience, as these bases are now getting cleared up. Lich sits at level 4, picking up Claws of Attack +5, trying to increase the auto attack damage. Meanwhile, the Death Knight, well, should be trying to pick up an Orb of Corruption. We are going into ghouls and mass ghouls with destroyers now. So Ghoul Frenzy about to come online here. And still, this is now one base to one base. Difficult to say who really has the advantage. 48 supply compared to 47 supply, pretty even there. Ghoul's going to try to dive on in, perhaps cause a little bit of problems. There's a big Frost Nova. There's a Death Coil trying to save right there. Lich is going to be forced to back up as repairs are underway. No masonry upgrade, as the Lich could be in trouble. Death Knight now in a little bit of trouble here. Going to end up getting surrounded. There's a Thunderclap finishing things off, and the Lich is now in serious trouble there. Scroll of Town Portal quickly being used. Ghouls could end up getting taken down. There goes, nope, there goes one ghoul. There goes two ghouls, as level 3 is reached by that Archmage. Archmage at level 3 opting to go for, looks like level 1 Brilliance Aura. Nope, level 2 Brilliance Aura, as I would have normally guessed. That level 1 Water Elemental making its way out there. Level 2 Brilliance Aura meaning much more to get mana onto all of your units, as the Mountain King now sits at level 4. Farseer coming back the other way, gets in a level 2 stomp with that Torrent Chieftain's help, and now continuing to push back here. Stormbolt onto the Shadowhunter. Shadowhunter trying to shake that stun, unable to do that. And now it's a 2-on-1 fight against Bizzare, as he needs to break free and head back home. However, Sheik does have a large number of ghouls. He has obsidian statues out here to try and keep mana flowing heavily, as the Death Knight now going to be joining in on the battle. The key question here now is whether or not the Mountain King at level, I believe, the level 4 Mountain King and the level 3 Torrent Chieftain can really handle and clean up this mass ghoul army. Death Knight picks up a Talisman of Evasion. Farseer is off over here. Is it going to get spotted? There's a big Frost Nova, but, well, it looks like it pretty much shook off that damage, even though it was the level 2 variety. Did it have some sort of amulet or spell shield? No, it didn't. It just was able to heal up a lot, or just shake off much more of that damage than I would have thought possible initially. Coming back through, we can see buildings still being left behind here. Archmage Rifleman attempting to take down the slaughterhouse. Sheik showing 52 supply in low upkeep. Meanwhile, Blade sitting in no upkeep still after all of this time has a bit of the economic advantage as the units now make their way off to the north. Death Knight still sitting at level 1, doesn't have level 2 Unholy Aura for Unholy Aura as the ghouls are ready to swarm on in. Here we are, a bit of magic damage to go after all of those towers. Tower number 1 already gone. Tower number 2 going to get taken down pretty quickly. Death or Lich losing a lot of mana due to that arcane feedback as the arcane tower needs to go down next. All right, base race scenario. Who's going to come out on top? Farseer looking to try and perhaps finish off or get in some damage. Farseer is the one with an Orb of Corruption, able to, remove a bit of that armor as we see a Scroll of Town Portal now being used by Blade in order to back away. All right, Cassius, Tauren Chieftain, could find himself in a bit of a scenario here as the units are trying to go after that Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain has plenty of survivability items, but the army of the Red Army is just simply that large. Tauren Chieftain trying to stomp his way through that Red Sea and finally able to get it to split apart. Tauren Chieftain now making its way back down to the south here, leading the charge in snares, trying to, keep some of those ghouls and perhaps slowly pick them off one at a time. Economic advantage now, pretty much neutralizes. Both sides are in no upkeep. We're looking at 45 supply compared to 40, I believe, 48 at this point and time in the game for the players that are actually mining. The Spirit Wolves looking to take down the Tauren Totems and all of those buildings there as the Farseer are now going to try and engage here. Tauren Chieftain now trying to double back around. We see an ensnare on the Farseer. Farseer could have a very, very bad day, but a big stomp going across that back line there. Death Knight now trying to still keep a little bit of distance. Level 2 on the Death Knight has Unholy Aura and now fighting on Blade, able to regenerate quite a bit of hit points as we see so many ghouls now low on hit points. Tauren Chieftain gonna be able to, uses the Potion of Healing. Tauren Chieftain wants to get in a stomp, unable to do so. Doesn't have enough mana as there are so many low hit point ghouls nearby here. Level 4 now on the Farseer. Level 2 Chain Lightning could make quite a big difference as well as the army, the human orc army is still looking pretty strong. Lich needs to try and go after these units here, perhaps getting a little bit more mana as the Mountain King looks to engage. Ghoul about to get taken down. There it goes, easily taken down, giving level 4 to the Farseer. Level 2 Chain Lightning could be a big deal as all the units are, teleporting back in the safety of Sheik's base. The slaughterhouses have been destroyed. No new obsidian statues. There are multiple spirit towers here, looking at 36 supply as the units are looking to engage. Death Knight has no easy way to get mana. Lich has no easy way to get mana, and that is the problem. Only thing that Cash or a Blade really want is perhaps some siege damage to be able to attack with range and force this fight out of their opponent. Chain Lightning bouncing around, really not going to add up to much damage at all as the units now look to retreat back. The Priest of Blade working overtime to keep this army all healed up. That level 2 Brilliance or a big deal there. Meanwhile, Lich trying to find a way to get some damage onto those priests who have been healing up so much of that damage consistently. But no, even with a Frost Nova, Chain Lightning unable to do exactly that. Coming back through, armies are now looking to retreat back here. They know that they can't siege their opponent. Their opponent's army is just too large as we're looking at the Death Coil Frost Nova onto a Raider. However, only level 1 Death Coil, not really putting that Raider in danger just quite yet. Mountain King, Devour Magic right there, Ensnare, broken free. Chain Lightning still bouncing around. Destroyer's going to perhaps try to go after there as the Mountain King using the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Stormbolt onto the Tauren Chieftain there. Tauren Chieftain could have a bad day. He's trying to get some pathing and then a Thunderclap onto a Scroll of Speed. Tauren Chieftain and then gets taken down for all of his efforts. Level 4 Mountain King falls, but no real level up here as the Riflemen are still trying to shoot their way through. Chain Lightning bouncing around all of the targets. Many of those Berserkers or Headhunters, are low on hit points, and since the destroyers are magic immune, we're not taken out. Water Elemental could end up being Devour Magic right here. Are we going to see it getting denied? What is going on? Blade, finally trying to finish off all of these units. There goes an Ensnare to try and slow down these units here as a Death Coil catches a Raider in the back. Skeletal Minion well, gets saved by a Priest's Dispel, as both sides are still fighting and perhaps trying to get their footing. Level 5 Lich of Frost Nova onto the Archmage. Mountain King resurrected at the tavern, back out onto the battlefield, as the Priest, keeping Blade's army all healed up and topped off, is the really thing that's keeping this army going. Cash's army is rather small. Only I see a Farseer and some Spirit Wolves. That's it. All the Orc Burrows were taken down, unable to train up anything else. It looks like one Farseer and one Grunt is all that is left. Mountain King picks up a Mantle of Intelligence, getting in a bit more maximum mana capacity. That could be a big deal indeed if the Mountain King wants to perhaps try and find some of these other targets there. Rifleman shooting back the other way, as the army is going to be able to regroup and regather. Archmage needs to stay close to that Mountain King, keep him topped off on mana. Armies need to, well, make sure that they're not caught out in the open. A Spirit Walker caught out in the open there, so it is only one single Farseer left for Cash, and that is it. Coming back to the other side, the other Orc player, Bizzare, sitting at 10 supplies, so perhaps having 2 heroes. Need to find where those heroes possibly are. Are they? Yep, there they are. Tauren Chieftain and Farseer purposely staying back inside the home of the undead of Sheik to make sure that nothing goes sideways. All right, those heroes are definitely worth a lot more if you know that they cannot be resurrected due to supply, due to being supply blocked. Farseer rushing out across the map here. Death Knight, Lich. Lich does have a Scroll of Town Portal, can easily back away if needed. We're going to try and catch a Priest in transit. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight in a little bit of trouble. Does have a Ring of Regeneration. Picks up a Scroll of Town Portal in order to get away easily, as we now see level 5 on the Mountain King. Trying to come back around. Ends up walking into the other army of... walking into the other army of Cash with the Spirit Wolves, and that Farseer decides to Scroll of Town Portal all the way back home. Now, the Lich is sitting at level 5. Level 3 Frost Nova could go for level 3 Dark Ritual in just a little bit as well. We are still looking at some mining going on. Still 3 minutes of mining left, as the Red Army were moving out across the map, trying to make sure that there are no expansions placed down anywhere else. Trying to get every single item that they can from all of these creeps. Death Knight, still with that Ring of Regeneration and Unholy Aura, has a very, very strong passive regeneration abilities, even without the Obsidian Statue providing that Essence of Blight. Dual Obsidian Statues, Farseer, Tauren Chieftain, ready. Off to the north here. The Water Elemental going to get cleaned up. Lich is getting closer and closer to level 5. Lich does not have an Orb of Corruption, interestingly enough, as the Lich going to go do into a Goblin Zeppelin play behind enemy lines. There is no guard towers here any longer, so the Lich is just going to show up to the party, finish off that Sorceress, and now take down some of these workers. This should be a pretty free time to try and take down unit after unit, as the Mountain King shows up to the party. Level 4 on the Death Knight. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight now. There's a Chain Lightning, but it's not going to be enough to finish off that Death Knight there, as all the units are teleporting back home. Obsidian Statue is going to, make sure to heal up the Death Knight and that Lich back once more for another push, and it looks like Sheik, with that level 4 on the Death Knight now, should be able to move much more quickly around the map. Abomination out here as well. Want to make sure you don't accidentally give Disease Cloud to your own partner there. Tauren Chieftain, level 3 with a Potion of Invisibility, should be able to easily cause problems. That Potion of Invisibility, a sudden stun across those priests, followed by a Frost Nova Death Coil, could be the death of a couple of those priests in the back line, especially if you follow it up with a Chain Lightning.
A player's forces are under attack.
All right. Units in the center portion of Destroyers now trying to make their way through. Tauren Chieftain has a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability and has already used that Potion of Invisibility. Gonna make their way across. Mountain King also very much nearby. There was a random Dispel catching the Tauren Chieftain. There's a Thunderclap. There's a Stomp. Potion of Invulnerability, Chain Lightning, bouncing things around. But that Torrent Chieftain needs to back away as that potion of invulnerability does not last that long. Needs to stay close to those obsidian statues. That a random accidental dispel catching things off guard there as the Mountain King perhaps going to try and engage. There was trying to be some Devour magic on a invisible Mountain King, but not quite catching the target there. Chain Lightning bouncing around. Archmage could have some trouble, down to 98 hit points. A Thunderclap catches the Farseer though, and wow, what a change of events. A random dispel magic revealing the Torrent Chieftain, while the Mountain King was able to execute his own invisibility tactics. Lich, now sitting at level 6, has not trained up that level 6 ability yet. Torrent Chieftain trying to retreat and run all the way back home. His brother in arms, that Farseer, has fallen, and now all he can hope to do is head back home and perhaps try and heal back up, but there are no obsidian statues here. Mountain King could have a very bad, or could have a very fine day, looking to perhaps finish off things as we are looking at all of the gold mine now, well, running dry. Gold mine off to the north has about another minute left. The gold mine down to the south has finished mining as we're looking at, well, the Mountain King getting absolutely blasted. Death Coil, Frost Nova to finish off that Mountain King there. I thought it was invisible, but we could have had a random Devour magic situation once again. And it feels like someone played with my audio settings again. Yeah, so sounds like someone played with my audio settings. Alright, Torrent Chieftain no longer having the Farseer next to him. Coming back around, Archmage, Mountain King, still doing that invisibility trick alongside a Farseer. Things are looking good for Blade and Cash after taking down some of those other units. Remember, it was the Mountain King who fell. Mountain King could get resurrected. The heroes that cannot be resurrected are the Orc heroes. So losing the Farseer, losing the Torrent Chieftain, actually a very big deal here, as Sheik now unsummoning a couple of buildings for perhaps a final push. Little bit of additional gold trying to be had from the creep camps here, as the peasants are now starting to do some long distance mining. Archmage getting up to level 5 here. Farseer may actually get up to level 5, and this little bit of additional experience may be the difference. Now dual level 5 intelligence based heroes on that Farseer and that Archmage, and level 3 Chain Lightning or level 3 Spirit Wolves could be the difference. Thank you for the sub, as the Farseer and Archmage working together now. All right, a Shade is keeping track of all of the action here. Meanwhile, in the middle portion of the map, level 6 Lich with level 3 Dark Ritual should add over 600 mana. Should be able to get off plenty of Frost Novas when the time comes. Dual Obsidian statues are here. Orb of Corruption also on that Lich now, finally, as the Torrent Chieftain now makes its way out across the map. Mountain King, is it going to get revealed? There's a quick bit of damage as a Shade is able to keep track of that Mountain King there. Acolyte easily taken down though, as we're looking at the Shadow Wolves trying to make their way back around. Chain Lightning bouncing around. Those ghouls are not long for this world if they take any part of that Chain Lightning, as the Rifleman able to really rack up that damage easily onto those low hit point ghouls, especially after one Chain Lightning or perhaps even a Thunderclap. More damage as they're chasing back around. Invisibility onto the Archmage. Archmage trying to walk alongside that Mountain King there. The Shade is keeping track of things. Mountain King comes in with the Thunderclap. Stormbolt, beautiful potion of invulnerability used, and right there to shake off that stun, as the Chain Lightning still bouncing across here. Mountain King, or Torrent Chieftain, needs to be able to get into a giant stomp situation. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight could have a little bit of a bad day as the Torrent Chieftain throws down a stomp to slow things down. Archmage now in a bit of trouble, down to 340 hit points. Is he going to try and back away? Yes, he's going to try and back away, shake a little bit of that off, as well as a Sheik, well, escapes away with a very low hit point Obsidian, or low hit point Abomination. Looks like he's going to turn back around, try and stay alive, as the Torrent Chieftain now in a little bit of trouble. Chain Lightning coming back in from the other side. Stormbolt, and this could be the end. Mountain King in trouble. Mountain King and Torrent Chieftain both fall, but the Torrent Chieftain cannot be resurrected. Farseer looking to retreat back away as well, as the Archmage and the Farseer is now continuing off with all of this pressure. Lich sitting on 230 mana. No easy ways to try and get that mana back there. Destroyers want to get some Devour Magic, but instead end up getting finished off by the Archmage, and that may be it right there. Continuing to fire back and forth, the Shadow Wolf getting in front of the Death Knight, and the Death Knight simply can't see what's slowing him down. There's another Devour Magic, but it is still right there. But a big death onto the Archmage right there, as the Death Knight now in a bit of trouble. Is he going to be able to break free from this situation? Lich does not have any way to try and support that Death Knight. Death Knight ends up getting taken down. Death Knight had a potion of mana that I'm sure the Lich would have wanted very much, as the Lich now looks to retreat back. Army sizes, we're looking at a 7 supply army for the Undead compared to 39 supply army for Blade. And with that, that should be the game. Down to the final bouts of heroes. Long distance mining happening here as the Lich retreats all the way back home. Lich back at home, gonna try and, well, finish off some of these wolves here. Is trying to buy up a little bit more, unsummoning a couple of buildings left. What can the Lich really hope to do? And now he's unsummoning the Tomb of Relics, leaving behind a Black Citadel and a Spirit Tower, and that is it. Acolyte still, well, wandering back around here. Lich not going to be able to do very much. Going to try and engage some damage. Takes down a Priest, but, well, sees the full-size army of Cash and Cash and a Blade, and gives the GG. All right, a long, drawn-out effort. Even though there was probably economic advantage for Sheik and Bizzare with that expansion, unable to really capitalize it enough, as Blade and Cash come away with the victory instead. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 2v2 matchup on Consortium.